Welcome to Making Life Changes, a Seventh-day Adventist Christian channel dedicating to sharing God's Word through Bible prophecy, sermons, testimonials, country living, and even gardening. And today we're going to be talking about watermelons. As you can see, our watermelon patch has exploded with just 6 plants here, and they've got runners going everywhere. And one of the things that you've got to do if you want proper production of watermelons and you want big watermelons is that you need to properly prune your watermelon vines. And that's going to be talking about here today, is how to prune these vines effectively for very large watermelon harvests. All right, if you want to get more of this great content, don't forget to hit the like button, smash the subscribe for us, and share this video as it really helps the algorithm. Now, watermelons are very heavy feeders, and so you do have to fertilize quite often so that you can get the big watermelons. And these have actually went crazy. You see they're growing on the fence, which we're going to have to work on that. I've got some ideas. Me and my wife are going to try to put some hammock bags to be able to hold them to support the weight. Otherwise, it's going to pull our fence down. And of course, we had to put the fence because we had raccoons and other critters, especially rabbits, trying to get in here and eat up our fruit. So the fence has so far been effective. We have to see after we get closer to harvesting if that's really going to make the critters want to climb over the fence and come in. Hopefully not. Another thing you got to have for watermelons is proper pollination. Now, we have a lot of bees here and honeybees. You can see some of them already flying on the plants and pollinating them. So that's one of the reasons we're getting so many watermelons out here. If not, otherwise you got to self-pollinate them, and maybe in the future I can do a video about that to show you how to do it. But on today's video, we're going to be talking about how to properly prune your watermelon vines and so that you get the biggest harvest and the biggest watermelons possible, and you don't get deformities, because watermelons are heavy feeders, so you got to fertilize them quite often. In the beginning, they're going to need tons of water, so you're going to need to be watering them every couple days, a couple inches of water. But as the fruits get larger and larger and get ready to harvest, well, you won't have to do that. You need to cut off on the water a little bit to once or twice a week, and you need to make sure you continue to fertilize on a steady basis, because they really do love a lot of nutrition because they are heavy feeders. As you get closer to the fruit ripening, you want to cut off and use more of a standard like 5-5-5 fertilizer, and you want to do this every single week. Where a lot of vegetables you want to go every other week, watermelons need to be fertilized on a regular basis. And if you love super juicy big watermelons, don't forget to stick around to the very end, because I'm going to share some additional tips and one bonus that's going to be guaranteed to give you super big watermelons all season long. So let's get in and figure out how to start cutting off these suckers, as we like to call them, these side shoots, these vines, and properly prune these watermelon plants. Now, as you see here, watermelon is a vine, and they like to grow extremely long, and in the nodes here is where you potentially will produce a watermelon. But it's also where you will grow what's called a sucker, basically a side shoot that'll come off the watermelon that will do nothing but extract energy from the main vine, which is going to give you smaller fruit yield and potentially even deformities, as maybe you don't have enough energy to sustain the fruit that's on there. And you see we got some really large watermelons that are starting to grow, and these are only 2 weeks old, so they're growing really fast. This is a crimson sweet variety, which grows really large watermelons. We were not expecting to grow up on our fence like this, so I'm going to have to make some hammock bags and support them so they don't tear our fence down. But this is a good problem to have. Lots of watermelons, and it's because I've been removing the side shoots to promote energy directly into the main stem. So see if I can find a sucker here for you, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So I'm tracing this main stem back. It's easier to start on the end, and you can trace it back and run it along. And here's this stem going down here, and if you see right here, you see that, you see right there, right here we have another stem that's coming off this main branch, and it's growing out and it's producing another here. This is a sucker. This is not the main stem, and this is just going to extract energy from your watermelon plant. So once again, I trace back, I started at the end, I trace this watermelon vine all the way along. Here's my fruit set. Moving back, I look down here, and I eventually come to where I have a sucker. This is just like on a tomato plant. Tomato plants, cucumber plants, all work very similarly. And I have this, if I can get zoomed in here to where you can see that again, right there, you can see it. And that is the sucker, and I'm just going to cut this off. And make sure that you're using some very clean snipping shears. I like to, before I do this, I like to put mine in alcohol just to make sure that, that they're not contaminated with anything and don't spread any disease. So I'm going to clip that. And now, just clip this other one off here. And then I can literally just pull this one straight out and throw it away. So now what that's going to do is it's going to put all my energy back into this watermelon, so it's going to get huge. Obviously I got to take these down off the fence or it's going to pull my fence down, but once again, that's not a bad problem to have, right? Okay, let's see if we can find another sucker. Once again, oh, also when you find these watermelon sets, make sure that you cut the set of leaves right next to it. The first couple sets right here, and even the little next blossom off, because this is taking energy away from your watermelon. And so you want to make sure that you get no more fruit set right here. You should have a fruit set typically about every 3 to 4 foot, and no more than 3 or 4 watermelons per vine, per plant. Here we go. Here's the top vine coming down, and if you trace it, it's got a lot of suckers. It's got one right here. See it? You can see it because it's growing right off. See if I can get my snippers in there. It's growing right there, coming off the node of that main stem. It's going to grow another vine and just suck energy if I don't get rid of it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get rid of it. I'm tracing it down, and you see there's my main watermelon right there. And I want to clip the leaves around it so that all the energy produces and goes into this main stem. Here we go, another stem coming off, tracing it down. You see I got a couple suckers here. I got one here, I got one right there. You see how it just comes off the main stem? And even another one here and another one here. There's quite a few of them I need to cut off of this. So here we go. Clip. This one here. Clip. This one here. Even the little leaf with it. And right in here. All right, I'm back, and if you can see, I have pruned out this watermelon patch. I've taken out about 50–60% of the suckers. I don't want to take them all off because I don't want the plants to go into shock. I'll come back in about a week and I'll look for some more suckers and prune some more, and then I'll come back every week and just maintain it. But you can see a lot of difference compared to what it looked like before and what it looks like now. You can really start to see where the watermelons are setting, and of course my watermelons are no longer taking over my okra plants over there like they were. And I've even got some of the watermelons down that were hanging up on the fence, which is going to help, so I won't have to get supports. There's a lot of little watermelons coming down here. That's the first one I had set, and it's really starting to get pretty large. These are Crimson Sweets, so they are the old school traditional watermelons that grow upwards to 22+ pounds and get very long and large. Very sweet and delicious. Now really that's all there is to it to get these suckers off your watermelon plants, but you need to check them. I come out here every single 3-4 days and check for new suckers. Otherwise it can be very hard to maintain your watermelons if you let them grow too far and have way too many suckers instead of the main vine that's coming off the main plant where the root system is. And that's another thing is, remember when you water, when you fertilize, the vines aren't necessarily, they're not going into the ground, but the main plant is where you originally planted the seeds, and that's the area that you want to keep shaded, you want to keep moist, you want to keep cool, and you want to fertilize heavily there. The main vines will grow out into the sun. They love full sun, 8 to 10 hours a day. And I'm here in the Texas heat. It's about 100 degrees. You can see I'm sweating like crazy, and they absolutely love this hot, humid weather. And make sure you give your watermelons a really good watering right after you prune, so you can minimize any shock or stress that the plants may go through from you pruning out those suckers. Very important. Watermelons, of course, where they get their name, watermelon, they love a lot of water, particularly at the beginning when the fruits are still young and growing. As the fruits get older, you can cut back on the watering. But when they're young, especially after doing something like we did, going in here and pruning all those suckers out, it needs a good watering. But on a regular basis, I water my watermelons every couple days in the summer heat here in Texas. And then after they get closer to ripening, I'm going to cut that back to about 2 times a week, or as needed on each plant. All right, thanks for sticking all the way to the end. If you're wondering what to do with all those suckers that you just cut off, what I do is I don't throw them away, I don't burn them, and before I put them all the way into my compost pile, I like to make a tea that I can go back and use in about a week or so to really help supply the watermelons the energy that they need. So I got a bucket over here. This is where I put my compost scraps and stuff out of the kitchen as we are putting scraps and then composting them back. But I'm going to put all of these, at least as much as I can, into this bucket. I'm going to fill it up with some water, and then I'm going to shake it around every few days, and in about a week it's going to be a very, very strong natural fertilizer that I'm going to be able to pour onto my watermelons. Then I'm going to fill that back up about halfway with water, and I'm going to continue the process all season long and keep adding to fresh clippings into my bucket so that I can make this compost tea, which is going to give the watermelons everything that they need. Yeah, so I'm just going to put these clippings, and I chopped them up. So these were all the suckers that I got off the watermelons. Threw them in a box there. I left them in the sun for a couple hours while I was continuing to work on the rest of the watermelon patch. I'm just going to fill this bucket up with these clippings. And like I said, I did chop them up because it makes them easier to break down. And then I'm just going to add some water with my hose here. About halfway. You don't want it too much water or too little, but that's going to be your tea. This is naturally going to break down, and it's going to compost. And so all those nutrients that were in these clippings, and of course some of my food scraps I got from the kitchen, they're all going to work together, break down together, and end up making this tea that I'm able to then put back into the soil and give the watermelons exactly what they need. And I'll do this every week. So I'm going to close it, and every couple days I'm going to shake it and just kind of move it all around, and then once it really kind of sets in and breaks down, then I'm just going to pour it, just the water. So if you need a strainer or something like that, you can definitely don't want to put all the composted material into your watermelon patch, just the water that's already got the nutrients broken down in here. And then just add that just like you would a fertilizer once a week, and continue adding more clippings as you get more clippings, more suckers, and just continue to put them in there and fill your bucket up, add some more water, and repeat the process and continue to do this all season long. You can even break some eggshells, banana peelings, food scraps, whatever you got, old lettuce that's going bad, chuck it in there and just make that tea. And this is just additional fertilizer nutrition that watermelons absolutely love. All right, once again, if we've helped you, help us by smashing that subscribe button and like and share this to boost the algorithm. Even leave some comments if you got any questions about watermelons or some other videos you'd like me to share. Once again, my name is Harold Helm. I am making life changes, and you can too. God bless you.